Hello you cheeky scams, I'm Josh from What Culture with a trifecta of big movie news for you today, but let's just cut to the most important one first. What the hell is going on with Dark Phoenix? After months of weird silence and rumours about test screenings not going well at all, and even a few suggestions that the movie might be cancelled outright, Fox came out swinging with a new trailer last night. This morning? I don't know, time zones are weird. The trailer is a biggie as well, and weirdly spoilery. Usually when a trailer outright spoils something as big as the death of a main character or a complete change of direction for an established hero, as with when Terminator Genisys trailers revealed that John Connor was in fact now a Terminator for some reason, you have to wonder if the people in charge have completely lost their minds. Surely these are the kinds of magical story moments that deserve to be kept as a secret, even in an era where the final shot of a movie is fair game for a big movie trailer. There's a currency to plot after all, which means major tentpole releases like Avengers Endgame are locked down to an unprecedented degree. Studios don't usually want us to know and fans don't usually want to know, so defying that is like flipping the world upside down. Still, that's exactly what this second trailer for X-Men Dark Phoenix has done. And look, total clarification, I'm going to spoil the absolute crap out of this movie right now, so if you haven't seen the trailer yet or are unsure as to what the big spoiler you even saw was, then get out. Get out right now and then come back and watch this video, of course. Okay, still here? So, the latest look at the film started off with a pretty big bang. The revelation that Mystique has been killed off. She's brown bread, murdered apparently in the opening act by Jean Grey. It's a huge thing to give away in the marketing. Jennifer Lawrence has been a major part of this franchise since First Class and has become a major reason why people even see these films at all. So why have Fox revealed such a major moment in the trailer? Well, fortunately, after the second trailer dropped, director Simon Kinberg has been doing the rounds and in an interview with EW confirmed that the death isn't a fake out and discussed why it was included in the trailer at all. He says, and I quote, "Well, the thought process behind that was to primarily show that this is a movie that is unlike other X-Men movies. It's a movie where shocking things happen, where intense, dramatic things happen. People don't just fall off buildings and dust themselves off and walk away. There's a reality to this movie and a consequence to this movie." God, that's a lot of movies. Even more than that, it was to show that Jean/Dark Phoenix is genuinely a threat to everyone, including the X-Men, end quote. And if you think back to Infinity War's marketing campaign, almost those exact same things were said as well. Kevin Feige and the Russos said there was a major event right at the start of that movie that established that this was unlike any MCU flick to date, and that Thanos was indeed the threat he appeared to be. Ultimately, they were referring to the deaths of Heimdall and Loki, which Marvel chose to not put front and center of their marketing. Why? Well, because it's not necessary. Sure, you can hint at something, you can even say it's the death of a main character, but saying who it is a step beyond that. That said, there is a reason why Fox and Kinberg have chosen to do it here. It's a marketing ploy. Think about it, Dark Phoenix has been beset by confidence issues for months now. It's been shifted back out of its release slots more than once, and with the Disney-Fox deal looming, it's being widely considered something of a challenging release alongside New Mutants. It's also a bit of a free throw for Fox, since the Disney deal is now their safety net. This movie is probably more about damage control on the budget more than anything else at this stage, so some drastic marketing techniques were probably necessary. It wasn't enough to just pretend that this is just another X-Men movie, which is precisely why Kinberg is talking about difference and, like Infinity War, it being the culmination of this X-Men storyline which started with First Class. In the face of a fairly big swell of negativity, which hasn't been abated by the quality of this second trailer, to be honest, Fox have decided to take control of the conversation and guide it somewhere useful. The reason they've killed off Mystique in the marketing then is because it's a marketable asset. It's something interesting in an otherwise uninspiring movie in terms of general audience expectations anyway, that they can weaponize to bring fans in. By making it seem like Mystique's death is so inconsequential that it can be shown in the marketing, Fox have rather cleverly suggested that there are other things coming in the movie that make that look like nothing. In the very same interview, Kinberg mentions other major casualties and seems to set up a Civil War style movie where the X-Men split based on how they want to deal with Jean, whether to reform her or to kill her, presumably with Beast on one side and Cyclops on the other. another. By downplaying one story element, they've not only added intrigue because we don't know exactly how she kills her, but they've also made everything else more interesting as well. And when the spoiler was already heavily rumored anyway, it's a bold and clever creative decision and a far better approach than the one Paramount took with marketing Star Trek Into Darkness, because you all knew that Benedict Cumberbatch was Khan, no matter how hard they tried to insist that he wasn't. In the end, this is something of a no-lose situation for Fox. Kinberg admits that he has no idea whether Marvel will retain the cast, they won't, and nobody is expecting anything of the movie. So why not throw the dice and market it in an entirely different way? It's a little like going into a fight and starting off by breaking all your fingers and shouting, "If I do this to myself, what do you think I'll do to you?" I mean, I don't recommend that, but, you know, it counts. I mean, I don't recommend anyone do that because that's absolutely insane, but sometimes a little insanity is what you need. And hey, if it works for Fox, then it works, but it's a bold strategy, Cotton, and we'll have to wait to see if it pays off. Next up on the docket is the news that the DC movie universe's Deadshot may be no more. Despite suggestions that James Gunn was willing to bring some of the original cast of David Ayer's Suicide Squad back for his sort of reboot, sort of sequel, we now know that one of these actors has been ruled out entirely. According to Variety, Will Smith had been offered the opportunity to return as Deadshot, but scheduling issues ultimately meant that he will be unable to do so. It's an amicable split with no hard feelings, though the studio were apparently keen to bring back the biggest names of their cast like Smith and of course Margot Robbie. But if you can't set the dates right, then you can't set the dates right. It's not an easy thing to get around, and Smith is out. For now, according to Variety's Justin Kroll, the studio need to decide on whether they're going to recast Deadshot since he was one of the prime players in Ayer's story, or if he's just going to be replaced in the squad by another DC character. In my opinion, a recast might be off the table. Suicide Squad's Deadshot was one of the film's strongest characters, but a lot of that had to do with Will Smith being, well, Will Smith, and allowing his effortless charm to do most of the work. His infamous "what are you, some kind of Suicide Squad" line was indeed awful, and the way he was generally written wasn't great, but he still has the charisma and presence to sell roles like that. Recasting would lose that spark and would also immediately suggest that Gunn's movie is an attempt to redo the original, which Warner Brothers don't want when they went so hard on how much of a success that first movie was. With this in mind then, WB might prefer to let Gunn branch out and create his own stars, just like he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. Or maybe they prefer for him to bring in another character. Hell, why not Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke? Not like he's got anything else to do now. Even though there is genuine goodwill for the first Suicide Squad movie, weird, I know, it's going to be difficult for WB to market James Gunn's soft reboot thing. The title alone, The Suicide Squad, will no doubt be enough to give casual fans headaches, but the company had been pretty successful when it comes to salvaging troubled prior projects recently, riding out Aquaman's rejuvenation to a cool $1 billion+. It's an exciting time to be a DC fan and, dare I say it, a Suicide Squad fan. And now, finally, fresh off his Oscar win for Queen biopic Bohemian Rhapsody, Rami Malek may be turning his talents to another British institution, James Bond. No, Malek isn't going to be donning the tux once Daniel Craig departs, but instead is being lined up as the main villain for next year's Bond 25, which is going by the working title Shatterhand. The report comes courtesy of Collider, who state that he's in final negotiations with his team, just waiting to see if he won the Oscar last weekend in order to give them a greater bargaining chip. It's probably safe to say that his price just went up then. There's nothing concrete about the villain as yet, but one rumor Collider cites suggests that Bond 25 will have a blind man as the main antagonist. Wonder Woman Saeed Taghmaoui, I'm sorry if I've mangled that completely, said he was in the running for the role back when Danny Boyle was directing the movie, so one thing that seems to have carried over to Kerry Fukunaga's vision is that they're after someone of North African descent to play the villain. In addition to Malek, another name linked with Bond 25 is Billy Magnussen, who recently appeared in Fukunaga's Netflix series Maniac. According to Variety, Magnussen is being eyed to play a CIA operative in the film, although it's unknown at this stage if an offer has actually been made. Casting is still ongoing for the two female leads as well, with Collider suggesting that Lupita Nyong'o is on the wish list, while Leah Seydoux, Ralph Fiennes, Ben Whishaw and Naomi Harris are all expected to reprise their roles alongside Craig, of course, whether he likes it or not. And even though it feels like we've been talking about Bond 25 for goddamn ever, with directors joining and then leaving, the release date being pushed back so many times, and countless rewrites, not to mention the spectre, no pun intended, of Craig's dejected comments about the sequel following the previous movie, the ball is apparently in motion for a spring shoot. For real this time. Like, is actually happening and is coming next year. So, bar any major disasters, we should know about Malik's casting in an official capacity anyway pretty soon, and Bond 25 should be on our screens the 8th of April 2020, and with a little bit of luck, it might be worth all of the hassle that it's actually caused. So that's all we know so far, and I know what you guys think about this smorgasbord of news today. Do you think that it was a mistake to reveal such a big spoiler in the X-Men trailer? And are you excited for Rami Malek, who is now an Oscar winner, to be the main villain of Bond 25? Either way, let me know what you think down in the comments, and while you're there, could you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to whatculture.com for more listing news like this every single day. Even if you don't though, I've been Josh, you've been watching What Culture, and I'll see you soon. Bye.